besides Bruce Wayne's Batman. Dick Grayson and Alfred Pennyworth are my two favorite Batman family characters. I do love Babs, I really do. But for some reason, Alfred, it went bzz, 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 bzz. He's my sister. She asked me what I'm filming about. Wasn't that a nice segue? Alfred is amazing, and I can honestly say Alfred is the biggest reason why Bruce Wayne is still alive. Not the reason why Batman is still being Batman, but why Bruce Wayne literally is still living within this DC Comics universe, because Alfred is the greatest support system Bruce could ever have, ever. And so the fact of the matter that Alfred right now in comics is not around is like, it's like I lost someone in my family. And so I can't even imagine how Bruce feels. Without Alfred, we wouldn't have Bruce. I honestly believe that, because Alfred is just one of the greatest Batman characters ever to exist. And this video is going to show you why. Welcome back, Gothamites. If you're new here, hi. I'm London, aka History of the Batman. It just stopped. If you watched any of my videos, you know there's just constant noise outside because F me trying to film, you know what I mean? As you saw in my intro, this video is all about Alfred Pennyworth, who is not with us right now, unfortunately. Yes, in Tom King's Arc City of Bane, under the request almost of Thomas Wayne's Flashpoint Batman, Brain, the Pinky and the Brain. Oh, that show was dope. Bane actually kills Alfred by breaking his neck. And why? Even though afterwards I learned that like Tom King wasn't the one that was like, ooh yeah, I'm gonna write Alfred dying. It was literally DC Comics that wanted to kill him off, and I was like, wow, that's cool. Anyway, last Wednesday, under the new creative team, which includes writer James Tynion IV, they released a one-shot called Alfred Pennyworth R.I.P. And it basically showed Bruce and the Batman family members mourning and remembering their beloved Alfred Pennyworth, who wasn't just a butler. He wasn't just a medic. No, he was literally the glue that held the Batman family together. And that is why I wanted to do this history of Alfred Pennyworth, because A, I haven't done a full history of Alfred, at least in video form. I probably have done it on Instagram, which is at History of the Batman. So if like you aren't following yet, you should, because why not, you know? And Alfred is just an amazing character, and I honestly think that many people don't realize how important Alfred is to the Batman family, especially Bruce functioning, like actually going out and being the vigilantes of Gotham City that you need. I don't think people get it. And that's kind of what I wanted to highlight today. I basically wanted to start from the beginning, highlight major arcs, major visual, and just any type of evolution of the character and how he became the very quick-witted and philosophical DC Batman family character that literally everyone loves. I cannot find a person. I was gonna say a fan and then person, but then a person came out. Is it gonna be one of those again where I'm just making up words? I cannot find a fan who doesn't love Alfred. I can't. Like, if you don't like Alfred, please tell me why you don't, because I want to understand why someone wouldn't like Alfred Pennyworth. I just want to know. Anyway, so we're not just gonna talk about comics, we're gonna talk about film, TV, all of the media, and just how he has evolved over the last, what's math, 77 years? I don't know math. I am not good at math. I am an English gal, so I write. I don't do math. Before we talk about good old Alfred, I want to do two things actually. First, did you see my shirt? I actually got this shirt in a World's Finest the Collection unboxing, and it's actually in 3D. Like if you put on these glasses and look at the shirt, you can see that it's in 3D. Like, how dope is that? Anyway, that is my Batman shirt of the day. Oh, and yes, why don't you subscribe to this channel and become part of this wonderful Gothamite community. Beginning on March 30th, 1939, Detective Comics issue 27 debuted, and Bill Finger and Bob Kane's character, the Batman, made its first appearance in all of its wonderful, wonderful pulp noir greatness. Batman became an overnight sensation, and then he introduced his very first sidekick, Robin, who was Dick Grayson, who is celebrating his 80th anniversary this year, which love that for him. And he debuted in 1940's Detective Comics issue 38, and just in that spring, Batman received his own self-titled publication, and that's celebrating its 80th anniversary too. There's so many anniversaries this year. While Batman was just tearing it up and getting that coin with all of his books, being in Detective Comics and in Batman, 1943 comes, and that is a very, very magical year for a couple of reasons. But the first is courtesy of our good friend Don Cameron, who in 1943's Batman issue 16 wrote the story Here Comes Alfred, and that officially introduces the character of Alfred. Now in this first story, you don't know his last name. Fun fact, his first last name isn't even Pennyworth. We learn that his last name is Beagle. Which, if you look at a picture of Alfred, which this is a picture of what Alfred looked like when he first debuted. He doesn't look like the Alfred that you know, but for some reason, Alfred Beagle just fits this look. Don't ask me why, but it just does. Alfred wasn't just a one-off character that just randomly in a story and then we never saw him again. His history and himself is already being planted within the Batman mythos and the very little Batman family that we have. At first, Batman and Robin actually save Alfred from getting mugged by this gang, which is like, that's fun. But then you learn that it isn't just, oh, we saved this guy. Alfred is actually the son to Jarvis. And Jarvis was Thomas Wayne's butler before Thomas Wayne passed away. We're already putting in there that Alfred has a family history of being a butler. So, already setting it up. I'm just saying they knew what they was doing. Of course, when Batman and Robin actually have to go back out to find these crooks and really apprehend them, Alfred just happens to stumble upon the Batcave, the most secret thing in Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson's life. And Alfred realizes that Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson are Batman and Robin. He discovers the biggest secret of all time. In the story, Batman and Robin obviously get captured by these crooks because they always get messy in these in these Golden Age stories. They always get tied up somewhere, like death traps just galore. And Alfred is there to save them or help them get out of this trap, and then Batman and Robin duke it out with them and it's all good. And Alfred's like, I have to tell you guys something. Such a fun conversation, like someone revealing to you that they know your deepest secret and you have to just be like, oh. Alfred tells Batman and Robin that he knows that they are Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, and to reward Alfred for his loyalty, when Alfred's like, I won't tell anyone though, I promise, I won't. They reward him with letting him live with them and be their butler. That's the reward that he gets for just not telling the world his secret. And sure, his father worked in this line of service, and Alfred was just a-okay with that. So that is literally how Alfred became Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson's butler. And that's a, you know, I have have many thoughts about that, but let's just keep going. 1943 was also a major year for Batman because Batman hit the big screen for the very first time in Columbia Pictures' 15-chapter black and white serial simply titled Batman that starred Lewis Wilson as the Dark Knight and Douglas Kraft as Robin, and they have to fight the evil Japanese scientist Dr. Daka. But this film just doesn't have crude costumes, low-budget sets, and a lot of good old-fashioned racism. Many aspects of Batman's mythology that we know today were actually introduced in the film first and then translated into the comics, such as the concept and even the term Batcave for Batman's secret lair. We also got the grandfather clock that they use to go into the Batcave. And the most important part, especially talking about this character, is actor William Austin was portrayed as Alfred Pennyworth in the 1943 serials. And that is the first time we ever see the word Pennyworth attached to this character. Now, the way you see William Austin, this is William Austin, and he does not look like Alfred Beagle because Alfred Beagle is a short, portly, balding Englishman. Whereas William Austin's Alfred Pennyworth is a lean, tall British man with hair and just witty as hell. He was literally the comic relief within this. Sorry, my sister's texting me. We're having a very deep conversation right now. From his 1943 serials, we get the name Alfred Pennyworth. We get the aesthetic of Alfred Pennyworth. And that all comes into comics. So, yay! William Austin's portrayal finally translated into comics in 1994's Detective Comics issue 83, which is one of the greatest weight loss stories of all time, because Alfred went to a health spa for a little bit the week, just to have a little vacation, and he looked like Alfred Beagle. And then literally this man came back from the health spa and dropped all the weight and looks just like William Austin's Alfred. Like, tell me a real life spa that's out there that will do that for you, because I promise you everyone would go that needs that. Alfred slowly but surely became just as an influential Batman family character as the dynamic duo themselves. Not only did he receive his own cover in 1944's Batman issue 22, but in that issue started the backup stories called The Adventures of Alfred. And for 13 issues, Alfred had his own centric stories where he was solving crimes and investigations. Like, one time he had to solve a murder mystery of a Gotham City professor. Like, he was literally Sherlock Holmes and inspired by Bruce being the detective as Batman, and rolling all of that into one. He loved detective stories and he wanted to be a detective himself. And I love that. We love a dad that is just so supportive of what his child wants to really do with his life. So much so that he wants to get into it himself to understand it more. We love a supportive father. We love to see it. Alfred's popularity continued throughout the rest of the 1940s and well into the 1950s, and beginning in the Silver Age, Bill Finger actually updated Alfred's origin story, or retold it, but a little bit updated. In 1957's Batman issue 110 called The Secret of Batman's Butler. Ooh, cryptic. It's still going, but I'm not gonna do it anymore. This origin story is very reminiscent of the one that we read in Here Comes Alfred in Batman issue 16. Alfred stumbles upon the Batcave, but he sees that Batman is actually wounded in the Batcave. And there we learn that Alfred is actually a trained medic that served in the war. So he actually was able to patch up Batman, whom he really appreciated that. And that's when, of course, Alfred learns that Bruce Wayne and Batman are the same person and everything. Bruce was like, oh, I trust you and you can patch me up when I'm hurt, which if you read anything or have watched anything or have played anything, you know that Alfred is literally Batman's doctor. Anytime that Batman or Robin or in the future Batgirl, Nightwing, anybody gets hurt, Alfred is the one to patch them up. That is his part of his job, and we love that. I mean, he's already just such an important part of keeping Batman together, figuratively and literally, and we're just in the 50s. I don't know so far how you cannot say that Alfred is not an amazing character. Then we move into the 1960s, and actually the Batman family is growing. We have Batman, we have Robin, we've even thrown in Commissioner Gordon into the mix because he's the homie. We have Alfred, and now we have characters such as the first Batwoman, we have Batmite, we have Ace the Bat-Hound, we even have the first Batgirl, you know, before Babs came in the mid-60s. I mean, the family itself was pretty solid. And of course, we needed a Batman family because it was the very traditional and conservative look of the 50s that families wanted to see within the comics that they were giving to their children. However, in the 60s, the new DC Comics editor, Julius Schwartz, was like, screw all that. We need to downsize real quick because the Batman comic book sales actually weren't doing great. I know that's very hard to believe these days because Batman is literally one of the most popular fictional characters of all time. During the early, almost to mid-1960s, that wasn't the case. The books sales were just trash. Julius Schwartz came in and said, okay, we have to make some changes in order to get that rise, you know what I mean? So not only did they downsize the Batman family and really just focused on Bruce Wayne's Batman and Dick Grayson's Robin, along with giving Batman his new look in 1964, which of course shows the yellow emblem. Let's see, does he have a yellow emblem on this shirt? No. Oh, wow. So just for instance, like you see how Batman on my shirt, he doesn't have the yellow emblem. So obviously this is before 1964. We get that classic yellow emblem, 1964, Batman's new look. And during this year, we also get a tragic, tragic story that involves our lovely, lovely hero of the Batman family, Alfred Pennyworth. And this is in Bill Finger's 1964 story called The Gotham Gang Lineup. And it was a Detective Comics issue 328. Long story short, Batman and Robin have to fight the Tri-State Gang. And of course, Alfred, being Alfred, wants to help them. And he does help them. However, Batman and Robin have to follow the Tri-State Gang to this construction site that is just the most unsafe place to be, it feels like, ever. Alfred, wanting to go and help his lovely Batman family, goes on his motorcycle. Badass. Say, hey, I'm gonna go help Master Bruce. Sorry. And when Alfred arrives at the construction site, he sees that huge boulders are about to fall and crush the dynamic duo. So what does our hero, Alfred, do? Literally pushes Batman and Robin out of the way so he gets the blow of the boulders and he dies from getting crushed by boulders. What? Batman and Robin, or Bruce and Dick, I guess more appropriately, mourned Alfred, and not only did they create the Alfred Pennyworth Foundation, which later in the mythology would actually become the Wayne Foundation. Just a little fun fact there. But then Aunt Harriet, a new character, just comes strolling in there and learned, oh, I heard of Alfred's death and you guys need help, so I'm just gonna be here to help you. Like the two people that have the most secretive nighttime jobs ever has some random come on in and say, oh, don't worry, I'll take care of you guys. In the out of universe reason why Aunt Harriet was introduced within the Batman mythos is of course because of the very, very false rumor started in the mid 1950s that Batman and Robin were a homosexual couple. They needed a motherly figure to come in to show that that's not what's happening, so they're not just in this big house by themselves. Whatever. As you may have thought, once Alfred was killed, fans were upset. They wrote in saying, "Why did you do that to Alfred? Why did you kill Alfred? That just seemed really unnecessary, DC." In the weirdest way possible. They introduced him back into the mythology. Shortly after Alfred died, a new villain came into the picture called the Outsider. And that was in Detective Comics 334 in the same year that Alfred passed away. The Outsider randomly was here and there, just terrorizing Batman and Robin for the next couple of years. But then, on January 12th, 1966, the new live-action Batman show was on the air, on TV, starring Adam West and Burt Ward as Batman and Robin, and Alan Napier was Alfred Pennyworth. Yes, we had an Alfred Pennyworth in the show, because guess what? Fans wanted Alfred back. And of course, if you know anything about the Batman 66 TV show, it became Batmania. It became a world phenomenon. It was so popular. So literally every character that was featured in this show, they got their own little fandom. And because Alfred was in it, and Alan Napier's Alfred was beloved by people watching him on the small screen, they had to put him back into the comics, that now their sales were going up, 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 because the TV show. So we learn that the Outsider is no one other than Alfred Pennyworth. Let me break this down for you. In Gardner Fox's 1966 story, The Inside Story of the Outsider, love that title, which was in Detective Comics 356, a few days, like 3 or something, after Alfred's death, he's already buried, you know, in the family plot, whatever. A mad scientist, because of course a mad scientist has to be involved. Mad scientist Brandon Cranford dug up Alfred's body and decided, I want to bring Alfred back to life using my weird science. So you can see that this is going to go horribly wrong. Trying to bring him back to life, he fills Alfred with so much radiation that it literally changes his cellular structure and transforms him into the Outsider, this very rocky, scary figure. Once Batman and Robin kind of are putting the clues together, figuring out that the Outsider is actually Alfred, they hit him once again with a dose of radiation, and for some reason this zaps him back to the regular Alfred Pennyworth that he was. And Alfred is now alive and well. He's back in Wayne Manor. Aunt Harriet's still here. And Aunt Harriet is also in the live-action Batman TV show too, because we just want to reiterate, Batman and Robin are not gay. We have Aunt Harriet. We have Alfred Pennyworth. We have our motherly figure. Like, we're good, right? Stop it, right? It's fine. Now that Alfred is officially back into comics, he is a hit on the small screen, not just in live action, but also when we get into animated shows, Alfred makes appearances. I mean, he's everywhere. He is just as vital of a character as Batman and Robin. Alfred even had some of his own stories in the mid-1970s, really short-lived publication called The Batman Family. As we enter the 1980s and we're going into the more modern age, we get to learn a little bit more about Alfred Pennyworth's backstory and just himself in many different publications. For instance, in 1978's Batman issue 303, you learn Alfred's full name is Alfred Thaddeus Crane Pennyworth. That is one of the most proper names I have ever heard. And then in 1981's Detective Comics issue 501, you learn that Alfred has a whole ass daughter. Now, you learn that Alfred actually fought in World War II as part of the French underground regime, met this lovely French woman named Mademoiselle Marie, and then she had a daughter named Julie Remarque. I'm sorry, the French accent. Remarque, you know, whatever. And she is saying, oh, you got my mom pregnant while you were fighting in the war and things like that, and I am your daughter. And Alfred accepts her. What's funny about that storyline is that Alfred automatically is like, come on in, sweetie. Oh my God, my daughter. You can live up in Wayne Manor with us. Like, what's the weirdest part of all this? Not just the fact that Alfred has this random daughter that came into the picture, but literally Bruce and Julie go on like 2 dates. Hold on. I have done many videos discussing Bruce Wayne's rendezvous with all these women. I even did a video that talked about over 40 girlfriends that Bruce Wayne has had over the last 80 years. And Bruce decides the woman that he was gonna try to go on a date with, and I think they even kiss once. Like, it doesn't work out. It just doesn't. But the fact that Bruce went out with Alfred's daughter, come on, man. She even appears in like recent comics, but she's kind of revamped and is a whole other character that I'm not really fond of. But kind of during the early to mid 1960s, we deal with the whole Julie Pennyworth being within Alfred and Bruce's life, and Alfred is just being Alfred. You see Alfred even in alternate universe stories. In particular, in 1986's Batman The Dark Knight Returns, Alfred is still alive, which I think is great. But in 1989, lots of things happen with the Alfred Pennyworth character, both in comics and on the big screen. In 1989's Who's Who of the DC Universe, we actually get an origin story and a little bit of background about Alfred Pennyworth for this post-Crisis on Infinite Earths timeline. Alfred has been a butler to the Wayne family literally Bruce's entire life, even before Bruce was born, once he moved from his home of England to Gotham City. And Alfred served as Thomas and Martha Wayne's butler until, of course, their tragic deaths in Crime Alley, and then Alfred became the legal guardian of Bruce Wayne after their deaths. As we know, once Bruce decided to spend his entire life avenging the death of his parents and assuring that no one else ever has to suffer this anymore, and he starts training his mind and body and all of these things to eventually become the Batman, Alfred is the #1 dad, totally supportive of him. Even though this is all completely crazy, he doesn't say, hey, why don't you go to therapy and fix this? Nah, fam, I'm gonna help you sew this this cape and this cowl and sew this belt. Like, I'm gonna help you. Like, he's so supportive. We love a dad that supports their child's dreams. Alfred didn't just literally help him put his costume together. Alfred made sure that his vehicles were top-notch, that he had all of the correct equipment, that his communication stuff was good, that the bat cave and everything that he had was top-notch, that he was ready for anything. He helped him. Like, he was literally a medic and a mechanic for Batman. And of course, just a shoulder to cry on, to lend an ear when he's like worried about something. He's like the most supportive, perfect dad of a vigilante that you can think of. Like, Alfred's amazing. And he continued to be that throughout the rest of the 1980s, well into the 1990s in comics. In 1989, there was also a big year for Batman because, of course, Tim Burton's live-action film Batman, starring Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne / Batman, hit theaters, of course, was a huge worldwide success. But another thing that's so important, and that what started this for the next almost decade, is Michael Gough. The amazing actor Michael Gough was Alfred Pennyworth. And he wasn't just Alfred Pennyworth in Batman. He was Alfred Pennyworth in 1992's Batman Returns, and even in the Schumacher films, in 1995's Batman Forever, and in 1997's Batman and Robin. He was Alfred, and he is one of the best Alfreds, period. He did the role perfectly. He brought that same sarcasm and wit and helpfulness and just was a huge part of the Batman film franchise in this era that is still a very important era. Before we get more into Alfred and 90s comics, what I have to point out is, and not just because I am a Batman the Animated Series fangirl, because I am, I always will be, that will never change. It just won't, I'm sorry. One of the best actors to portray Alfred is not in live action, it is in animation, and that is Efrem Zimbalist Jr. I swear. Now, of course, for the very first 3 episodes of BTAS, Clive Revill was the one that voiced Alfred Pennyworth. Before the rest of the time, BTAS, The New Batman Adventures, even spilling into other shows, it was Efrem Zimbalist Jr. And when I read comics, that is the voice I hear for Alfred. Just like when I read comics, Kevin Conroy's voice is Batman. Mark Hamill's voice is Joker. That support that you see in comics that Alfred gives to Batman and the Batman family just went right into the animated series, and he was just such a perfect Alfred for Batman. And I literally remember, I don't know what movie I was seeing, but I was in the movie theater. It was like 10 minutes to previews, and someone told me that Efrem Zimbalist Jr. passed away, and I had to take a minute. And I literally, because I was doing History of Batman still at that point, and I did a post and in the theater, like before the movie started, so I wasn't rude, but I just remember I was like, oh my God, that's a really sad loss, because he was an incredible actor. And he was just a perfect Alfred Pennyworth. Anyway, I'll stop ranting. Now, if you don't read any other arcs in the 1990s that are somewhat Alfred-centric, and even this isn't, but I need you to read the Batman Nightfall Saga, not because it's literally my favorite series of all time, but Alfred actually plays an important part in Bruce Wayne's healing. And that is because he leaves him. And I honestly think that was definitely reflected in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises, when Michael Caine, who played Alfred Pennyworth in those films, says, I gotta bounce because I am not going to be here to bury you just like I buried your family. You out here trying to fight Bane, and that's madness. I have to go. And literally, this is where that came from. During the Night Quest saga, Alfred travels with Bruce to begin his healing process just so he can get better. Alfred's not really out here thinking that he's going to go back to try to fight again. He just wants him to heal his body and his mind and all of that. But literally, during a Legends of the Dark Knight arc, which is I think issues 59 to 61, and that is in the Batman Night Quest part where Bruce is training again and healing, even though he's pretty much healed physically, Alfred knows that he wants to go back to Gotham and to fight Bane, to fight Azrael Batman, to just do craziness, go back to the place where he literally almost died. Alfred's like, I can't do this. I can't be here. I can't watch you break yourself again, and you choose to go back and try to kill yourself again, so I'm outie. Like, he literally leaves and goes back to England. He's like, I can't deal with it. Honestly, I respect him for that, because Alfred has always supported the madness that Bruce does to be Batman. He heals his wounds, he sews up his cape and all of the tears he gets. He makes sure his Batmobile's functioning. He even takes care of the rest of the Batman family members. So when he literally is like, why are you going back? Why are you going back when you almost died? So for a period of time he left, and actually it was Dick Grayson's Nightwing that actually had to go find Alfred to convince him to come back to Gotham because they needed him. Because everyone does need Alfred. He's the glue that holds all of this together. This is the cover. That's one of my favorite covers ever because it's literally like Alfred saying, "Peace out, my dude," while Bruce is sitting in a wheelchair. I freaking love it because he's like, I've done so much, I can't do it anymore. Anyway, I don't know why I forgot this. Michael Gough, not only during all of this, during Nightfall and everything, he was still Alfred in the films. Michael Gough also did radio. Since we're talking about Nightfall, I'm pretty sure that's why I remembered it. Michael Gough voiced Alfred on the radio taping for, I think, the BBC. There was one that was called The Lazarus Pit and then one that was Batman Nightfall, and he voiced Alfred. Michael Gough was the real one. Like, oh, the amazing 1989 Diet Coke commercial that if you can see it on probably now on like the Blu-ray as a special feature, but when you got the actual VHS, the VHS that I have right there, that commercial is on there. And of course you can look it up on YouTube if you haven't seen it. But Michael Gough is just the real one. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking like Michael Gough and Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. I swear. I know everyone loves the Dark Knight trilogy and Michael Caine, who was a fantastic Alfred. I'm not saying he's not, but like those two are amazing. And just another fun fact, since we do respect Alan Napier, Jack Napier, the name that Jack Nicholson's character in the 1989 movie Batman, he had, Alan Napier, that's the reason why we have Napier, because it was paying homage to that Alfred. I mean, Alfred is just everywhere. Alfred is so important. I love Alfred. Anyway, let's continue on. We know in the 90s, Alfred is central in the live action movies. Eventually, like I said, Nightwing says, we need you back in Gotham, and Alfred does realize my sons really are Bruce and Tim and Dick. I love them and I need to be there for them, even though y'all do some craziness and but but I need to go back to Gotham. As we go on into the late 1990s, the epic saga Batman No Man's Land happens, and that is when a huge, massive 7.6 earthquake hits Gotham and just wrecks everything. Wrecks Wayne Manor, wrecks the Batcave, wrecks everything. And the United States cuts off Gotham City from the rest of the US. And there is a no man's land and debauchery and sin, you know, happens. But of course, Alfred helps Batman and Robin and Huntress and the new Batgirl and Oracle and everyone try to bring some type of order and peace to this now chaotic world that we live in. And that lasted for a year. And then we're going right into the 2000s. Now, going into the 2000s, we have very crucial stories such as Bruce Wayne Murderer and Bruce Wayne Fugitive, which I love that arc for Alfred because he, of course, is ride or die. Because everyone thinks that Bruce Wayne has killed his girlfriend Vesper Fairchild, but Alfred's like, no, he didn't. That's like an arc that you just need to check that out. If we're going to look at other media, such as animation, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., he voiced Alfred in Static Shock and I believe Justice League, and then he stopped voicing Alfred. But of course, other actors portrayed Alfred because he has to be in literally any iteration of Batman. How can you not? Such as he was in the 2004 show The Batman, and he was also seen in the show Batman the Brave and the Bold, and Alfred was even featured in Young Justice. I just feel like Alfred, even if it's not a completely Batman-centric show, he's such an important part of the DC universe. How can you not feature him? But of course, during this stretch of early 2000 Batman animation, we have the Dark Knight trilogy, which began in 2005 with Batman Begins, then the sequel, 2008, The Dark Knight, and of course in 2012, The Dark Knight Rises, and as I mentioned earlier, Michael Caine was Alfred Pennyworth, and honestly, he did a fantastic job being that supportive father figure, that sarcastic fool sometimes that just is perfect. He did a fantastic job as Alfred and being that surrogate father that Bruce needed, definitely. During the comics, while the Dark Knight trilogy was happening, other things were happening to Bruce, such as, I don't know, him dying. It all kind of started with Grant Morrison's run, which, you know, I love me some Grant Morrison, and in particular Batman R.I.P. when Alfred was even like held captive and beaten up in the Batcave when they were trying to drug Bruce, who turned into Zuranol Batman, and that whole fun greatness. As maybe you may or may not know, in 2009-2010, Grant Morrison's story Final Crisis saw that Bruce Wayne apparently died at the hands of Darkseid. And literally for a little over a year in comics, Bruce Wayne was not there. He was not in Gotham. He was not Batman. No one really knew what was going on. Of course, he was like time traveling and all that good stuff. And Batman, The Return of Bruce Wayne, another Grant Morrison crazy story. What I thought was heartbreaking, especially the first time I read it. Actually in a Judd Winnick story, I believe, in Batman 687, and it was shortly after Bruce Wayne's funeral, wake, time that everyone was mourning, and at Wayne Manor, Superman and Wonder Woman were there trying to figure out what to say. I mean, they asked Alfred, hey man, are you okay? And then Alfred literally says, no, my son has died. That broke me. Because Alfred really is. I know Thomas Wayne. I get it. He is Bruce's biological father, and he is important. He is important in how Bruce was slowly evolving as a man, as Batman. But Alfred has been the one that has been there his entire life and has helped him be the man that he is, that we see him to be. And Alfred treated him like his son because he basically was his son. I think in that arc, especially in the Whatever Happened to the Caped Crusader, those stories, that you could really feel the pain that Alfred felt losing Bruce. Even though Alfred is suffering, he is still there for Damian Wayne, who is Bruce's son and also Robin. He is there for Dick Grayson, who of course is Bruce's adopted son, and Dick Grayson sees Bruce as a father as well. He's there to literally pull and hold the family together in this horrible time. And that is literally the biggest reason why Alfred is just such an important part of the Batman family. There's no way. Which is why when we get to, you know, the current comics and him not being here, I have some things to say. I've been filming for a really long time. I gotta talk about my Alfred, you know what I mean? BTAS Alfred and the Burton-verse, Schumacher-verse Alfred are just outstanding. But Jeff Johns' 2012, 2013 limited series, I suppose we can call it, Batman Earth 1, is fantastic. If you haven't read it, please do. I met Jeff Johns and I had him sign my copy and I was like, bruh, like this is so good. Thomas and Martha, they die because in most iterations they do. And now Bruce is in the care of Alfred Pennyworth. Now Alfred, he's not just your typical, yes, I'm a medic and I fix cars, and oh no. He was a soldier in the Royal Marines, and he actually fought alongside Thomas Wayne, which I think is a little fun thing. But after an explosion during one of the battles, he loses his leg, and yet he's still a badass. And what I love is that while Bruce is training to become Batman, he is so hard on Bruce. He's like, no, do it again, get up again. He like is socking Bruce in the face, and he's just a hard ass on him. And he's like, you want to live this life? You want to live this vigilante life? Do better. Like, he's such a very stern, authoritative figure. Not just father figure, but a figure to try to put Bruce in line in order for him to be Batman. And you can see that in many interpretations, not just in comics, but also on the small screen and the big screen. If you look at Beware the Batman, which was very, very, very short-lived. I really loved that 2013 cartoon. I was so sad that it basically got canceled because it couldn't sell toys. Like, it just bummed me out. But that Alfred is very reminiscent of Geoff Johns' Pennyworth in Batman Earth 1. And of course, the biggest inspiration that you can see is definitely in 2016's DC Extended Universe film, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, which starred Jeremy Irons, who I loved his Alfred. And it's kind of a shame that we're not going to see it anymore. Like, I know the whole revamping, and now we have Andy Serkis who's going to be the new Alfred within Matt Reeves' The Batman, which, hey, I'm excited to see all of it. And ooh-wee. Geoff Johns' Earth 1 Alfred Pennyworth is such an out-of-the-box interpretation, but it's so good. And then another Alfred that you see on the live-action small screen was in Gotham, which ran for 5 seasons, which good for Gotham. And Sean Pertwee was very, very reminiscent of Geoff Johns' Pennyworth in Batman Earth 1. I don't know, it's just that hard ass, like, no, you want to do this, then you need to do it correctly. Come correct with this vigilante lifestyle. That's the Pennyworth, and I really like that Pennyworth too. Going into more recent comics, of course, Alfred Pennyworth was present within the New 52. Of course, he was present even in the current DC Rebirth comics. One of the stories that always sticks out to me, especially with Alfred, is the Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo arc Super Heavy, when Bruce Wayne loses his amnesia and Commissioner Gordon is actually Batman for a brief period of time, but then Bruce is able to regain his memory and go back to being Batman, but Alfred begs and pleads for him not to, because without him being Batman or knowing any of all of the things that he has done as Batman, he's actually living a healthy, happy lifestyle. And literally, that even though Alfred is so supportive of Bruce being Batman, he always, here and there, you will always see him say, don't you just want to use your immense wealth to help the city of Gotham, not actually use your brute strength and use your body in order to make Gotham better? Because I don't want you to die. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to literally kill your... You hear that? Wow, I'm like towards the end, guys. That's cool. Alfred constantly wishes that Bruce wouldn't be Batman, but then deep down he knows that that is Bruce's destiny, and he respects that because that's his child. And any parent wants their child to be happy, even though as Batman he knows sometimes he's not happy. It's really complicated. And of course Bruce Wayne decides, nope, I gotta be a Batman again. And Alfred's like, all right, I guess he'll die then, you know, and just moves on. But then, I mean, in the current comics, Alfred has been through it. If you think about it, he had to deal with the Court of Owls. He had to deal with fear toxins courtesy of Hush. He had to deal with Joker in Death of the Family. It just constantly has to deal with these people who want to get Batman. During DC Rebirth, other things that Alfred goes through happen, such as being blackmailed by Harvey Dent and even trying to figure out how to take out Joker to save Batman's just sanity. I mean, Alfred was just out here, but of course, Tom King's City of Bane is where everything just goes cuckoo. As I mentioned earlier, Thomas Wayne's Flashpoint Batman is able to actually take control of Gotham with the help of Bane in a way, but Thomas actually was the mastermind. But anyway, Thomas takes Alfred hostage to, of course, break down Batman. And then when Damian decides, oh, I'm gonna try to fix this, Bane kills Alfred. What the hell? But then you learn Batman issue 83 when Bruce actually comes back to Gotham, because Thomas Wayne's Batman was kind of like, no, none of the Batman family, no vigilantes can really be here. Batman comes and actually sees Alfred's body. Alfred, being the OG that he is, left Bruce a message. And Alfred literally sacrificed himself in order for Bruce to force himself to come back to Gotham in order to take out Thomas Wayne's Batman, because he knew that his death would make Bruce see that Gotham needs a Batman, a good Batman, not this Flashpoint evil Batman, but a Batman. So literally Alfred planned and made sure that he was going to be killed so Bruce can come back and be the Batman that Gotham needs. Now, if that is not one of the greatest, most heartbreaking things that Alfred has ever done, I don't know what it is. Last week, the one-shot Batman, Alfred Pennyworth R.I.P. came out, and it is a lovely, lovely book in a celebration of Alfred Pennyworth. Now, I don't know what is going to happen. I don't know how long we're just going to have Alfred dead. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know the plan of it. I just want to say, out of all these, I know this video was long because I'm talking about as much of the highlights of Alfred's evolution throughout DC Comics across all media. And Alfred is literally the glue that holds the Batman family together. I mean, he sacrificed himself to assure that Bruce comes back and is Batman again to protect Gotham. That's how deep his loyalty to Bruce's crusade of being Batman is. He would sacrifice his own life. And if that doesn't show you that Alfred is literally the greatest character within the Batman mythology besides Batman, I don't know what else there is to like convince you. Alfred Thaddeus Crane Pennyworth is an outstanding character, and I hope he comes back. You need to put respect on Alfred Pennyworth's name, because he is a huge part of what makes the Batman mythology so three-dimensional and outstanding. Whew, that was a long video, so if you are still here, thank you so much for watching this complete history of Alfred Pennyworth. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a bat thumbs up. As always, all of my social media is linked in the description below, including Instagram at History of the Batman. So why don't you go to follow and become a Gothamite? Check out all the other awesome Batman videos that I have on this channel. And also, I did something very special with my friends at Broad Spectrum Nerds, who have this really new but fascinating YouTube channel, and they actually interviewed me. I don't do interviews because I interview other people. It's very odd to talk about myself. I don't really like doing it, but they made it so comfortable, and I talked about how I started History of the Batman and just kind of how my nerd world is that I don't really discuss on any platform. So I'm going to link their YouTube channel in the description below. Whenever this video comes out, I will link their YouTube channel in the description and also the link to the video. And yeah, go subscribe to their channel. They make really awesome content, really thought-provoking content about this pop culture nerd world that we're all obsessed with, and I really do appreciate that commentary. So I really do recommend you checking them out, and all of their other social media that I'll put in the description below. Yes, check that out. That's coming out, me talking about myself. Weird, but it was very fun. Oh, and speaking of subscribing to their channel, why don't you subscribe to this channel and become part of this wonderful Batman community? It would mean so, so much to me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will have more History of the Batman soon, right here on YouTube. Remember, Gothamites, all about peace, love, and Batman. And Alfred. Do not sleep on Alfred. Alfred is one of the greatest Batman characters of all time. Bye. What?